All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to Shexel Live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining in from. You're welcome to Shexel Live. All right, so my name is Sel. I'm a health and safety practitioner, the founder of Shexel, and I specialize in developing spreadsheet solutions. I believe that you all had an amazing weekend. All right, so we are currently live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. All right, so basically what we're going to do today is the fact that we're going to look at the final work that we completed over the weekend. So if you have been following us over the past, few days, we were performing customization on a template for a user, and we actually did a lot of work. We went through various stages of the customization process, but then we needed to deliver the job, within 3 days. So Saturday was the day that we actually finalized. And today, I just want to share you guys the final work. It's not going to take so long because basically we're just going to look at the template and how far we actually came with the customization. All right. So if you're joining us for the first time, you're welcome to Shexel Live. Shexel Live is a forum where we take a deep dive into our template and show you how we perform customization. You can actually take inspiration from it to develop your own template if you can. Or you can actually get in touch with us so we can customize your template for you, right? So what we do is that we bring a lot of insight into your data, all right? So if you have a boring template or you have a very complex template where the workflow is not very smooth, you can always get in touch with us. We're gonna, upgrade it for you. We're gonna do a major workover and make sure that you have all the necessary reports and the dashboard that helps you to ensure adequate communication with your stakeholders, right? So we are basically making the health and safety job much easier, much exciting, much fun for safety professionals, okay? All right, so without wasting time, I'm just gonna go in there to just look at what was the original work or the original request that was sent to us and what we did, with the customization, okay? So I'm gonna share my screen right away, but anyone who has just joined in, I just want to say thank you for showing up. I said one person has joined. Just give me a thumbs up. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. So without wasting time, I'm just going to share my screen right away. All right. All right. So this is the original work that was sent to us, right? Okay. So let me just make it a full screen. All right. So this was the original work. And maybe I should just zoom it up a little bit, right? Okay. So as you can see, this was the set of leading indicators. And we had, some KPIs related to training, some related to risk management, some related to inspection, some related to emergency preparedness, right? And we needed to transform that into our template. Again, apart from that, there were also other lagging indicators, but take note that there were various, departments that this gentleman had to track. Okay, so tracking this department, it means that all the, whoever is responsible is going to be completing this. And they are trying to build a database. At the same time, they are comparing actual against the planned. And then that actually spans across multiple sheets. So we're going to look at the final work pretty soon. So with a template like this, there's a lot of, challenges when it comes to consolidating the data, when it comes to, doing some analysis. Okay. So this actually, it looks very complex because you are looking at the various lagging indicators, according to the contractor and then the client. And take note that the contractor and the client, is on various departments. So almost every department has a contractor and the client. So that's pretty much what this template is. Now tell me this template, the fact is that there's no dashboard, right? There are no reports on any KPI, nothing like that. So the only report, they have is a tabular report. The report is in a tabular form, right? So the report is in a tabular form. And when you have a report just in a tabular form, it's very difficult to really, share insights in the data or insight from the data. It's very difficult to really share insight from the data because you cannot really estimate the trend. You cannot estimate, do a site by site comparison or department by department comparison. That all becomes very difficult. So we're going to look at how we manage to transform this very template into our type of template. All right. Now, taking it, our type of template is a unique model. So it's a model that we've taken time to create, and it can easily be adapted to any other set of KPIs. So if you want to have a template like that, you can always get in touch with me. All right, so let's get right into our template, and I'm going to explain a few things from that template. We're going to look at the advantage of our template as opposed to this, and the fact that it makes the work much easier, right? So with these ones, you definitely build your database, all right, but you're not going to get the report. You're not going to get the graphs and the charts and everything. So who is responsible for that? Who is supposed to be doing these graphs? I mean, these kind of graphs and charts. That becomes a workload for one person, probably the manager in charge of this. He's supposed to do some data analysis from this type of, data from this template, right? But we've done the work for you, literally, because we've literally, built all the reports that are relevant as per the key performance indicators here. And all you need to do is just build a database. You input your data, all the reports are generated automatically, all right? So without wasting time, let's head right into it. Okay, I believe that you can see my screen. Okay, so basically our template is well structured, as we can see. The fact is that every sheet within the workbook, we put it on a table of contents so you can actually navigate easily. We've introduced all the key performance indicators that the gentleman requested. All right, and we're gonna go straight into the actual database, right? So the database, this is how simple now it looks, right? This is basically how simple it looks now. So that long list of key performance indicators that is spanning across multiple sheets, everything has been consolidated onto one sheet. So this is pretty much the sheet. So no need to be inputting data across sheets and all of that. Now all the other sheets within the workbook should be able to represent something else. Okay, so mind you that there was the actual part and then the planned part, right? So basically they set target for the year or they set target for the month, and they are building their database to compare against those targets, right? So in our template, we separate the actual and then the target. So the target itself can equally become a database on its own. So you can build a database of actual over multiple time frames, right? So from 2021, 2022, all right? So we're currently in 2025. So from 2025, 2022, 2026, 2027 onwards, we're just gonna build database of target for all your list of departments. So let's take our time and go through, the template. All right, so we start from the approved list. Now on the approved list, we see that all the list of departments are in here. Now each department may have their, of course, there's a standard working hours for all of them, and that standard working hours is possibly, the same across the organization. All right, so in case you are not tracking department and you're probably tracking sites, you would then have your list of sites over here or list of companies over here. Now with your list of companies, each company or each site could have their own working hours, right? So we are looking at the standard working hours for the workforce every single day. How many hours do you work a day? Most likely you're working 8 hours or probably 12 hours. 12 hours a shift, right? So that is it with, trying to input all of this in here. And then we start to build our database. But the next sheet is actually the objectives and targets. So from the template that we have the same set of, objectives in here with the key performance indicators, the leading indicators that are supporting these objectives. Like though these objectives these objectives could properly be defined, be qualified. All right. So when it comes to objectives, you need to qualify them properly. It could be improving employee competence, right? That could be and you could even qualify it with some, some numbers. It could be like improving employee competence by a certain percentage. So, I mean, it's not really a big deal to say like this. I mean, you could just list your list of focus for your key performance indicators. So that is training, right? So training is a focus right here. And then we have the set of indicators that are supporting that. And then we have the targets and then the actual. So this is similar to what we have in the template where we have the planned and then the actual. Now this is a report. So this section, you don't even tamper with it. You don't touch anything here. Everything is already done for you. Okay. So we have the leading indicators, we have the lagging indicators, we have the target, we have the actual, and we have the incident rate. Now we can add as many type of incident rates as possible based on additional requests. That is a matter of choice. But then we are looking at lost time injury frequency rate, total recordable injury frequency rate, incident severity rate, incident rate, and they have it in here as all injury frequency rate. All right, so there's a calculation to that. So basically, we have the targets right in here where you'll be building your database. We have the actual right in here where you'll be building your database. So the inputting of the data only happens within these two sheets, right? These are the only sheets for inputting data. And you can actually build a database of all the sites, all the departments right in here. No need to create multiple sheets. You can actually create multiple sheets if you are giving it, if you are sending them out as some sort of report that they need to send to you every month. That is fine. So once you receive those reports, all you need to do is just input your data right in here, provide the number of working hours in the month, and all the entries that are relevant. So these are the entries that are relevant for the company to input their data, including for the lagging and leading and all of that. But you can actually do it very simple. All you need to just copy from the whichever report that is coming. It has to be properly aligned like this, so that you only copy and paste and transpose. Okay, so that is actually how we can even move fast when we are building our database. You only copy, paste, and transpose, right? So to transpose means that it's probably in a vertical form like this from the report that you're receiving. All you need to do is just copy from whichever sheet. So it's going to look like this, and then you right click and then you paste special, right? And then you transpose. It's going to go horizontal across the sheet. So that is basically how we can even move fast when you are building database. So the structure now has been revised and looks very, very simple now. Okay, so all of these other reports are all automated. Nothing has to be done by the user, because as they build their database, all of these reports are generated automatically by just refreshing the workbook. And as you can see in the monthly report, we have all the lagging indicators in here. The leading indicators are all in here. And basically, there's additional space for them to enter any additional information. For example, if there's any incident or anything like that. Okay. Now, we also have the statistics. So the statistics has equally been generated automatically. From the other reports, the original report, we notice that there's a summary sheet where they are actually collating everything as a statistics, but there's no other, reports like, report on each specific key performance indicator. Now, I'm going to be showing you all the individual report that we generated for each KPI, which compares the actual against the target. Okay. So with a statistic generator, that means that your work is made much easier. All you need to just filter like this, filter like that, basically to visualize or see any specific reports. All right. So with this Excel template, I mean, there's a little bit of, you have to know a little bit of Excel to navigate around, but it's not really, a big deal, because you can learn in the process of using this template. So sometimes, columns could be merged like this. You can equally, it could be very, very small. You can always expand it so you can see the content in each of the column, right? So basically, this is where you can look at each department's report. So if you have a long list of departments, you can just select to see the department reports. Okay. So that is basically what we see here in the statistics. And then we have the target dashboard, right? So with the target dashboard, basically each of the key performance indicator that we've identified or we've sort of populated in the objectives and target sheets, all of this stuff here, right? These are what has been put in here. So we've been able to put each of these KPIs right in here so that you can see how you're progressing towards the end of the month. Okay, so you can actually filter by each of the months, or select the entire month. If you want to select the entire year, all you need to do is just select and then drag it all the way to the end, and then everything is going to populate. All right, so you can do monthly reports like this to check each month's progress towards the target, or you can actually look at the entire time frame to see how far you're going. All right, so beginning of the year, as you're building your database of the actuals, or beginning of the year, you set your yearly targets and then you start building database of the actuals, right? And then as you are progressing every month, then you notice that all the charts or the dashboards and various reports will be taking shape every single month. All right. And this is probably going to be like your effort towards, ending the year, safely, strongly, knowing that you've been able to achieve all your key performance indicators. So all the KPIs will be showing like this up until it gets to 100, and your target should be reaching 100, right? So that is with the target dashboard. So the target dashboard is bringing in a lot of perspective into each KPI, as opposed to the original template where it was just a summary statistics and there wasn't any insight, right? So we've given the user this target dashboard. That's not all. We've also looked at a trend dashboard, right? So this one, something we call a trend dashboard, right? So basically each of the key performance indicators, each of the lagging and the lead indicators are all in here. And then this section is for looking at the trend for each of the KPI. You can actually look at the trend, right? Now let's bear in mind that the template doesn't have a lot of data. We have dummy data, just a few of them. So you're not going to see a lot of reports like a line chart that looks very, very big and nice, but you have a lot of zeros because in the actual database, we have a lot of blank spaces. We've not entered data, right? But this template, you can build a continuous database for the next 10 years, right? As opposed to using that original sheet where you are limited and you have to create another sheet to be able to populate and things like that. All right, so that's pretty much with a trend dashboard. So the trend dashboard, we have just few parameters. These parameters can always be changed. We are looking at number of workers, man hours worked, man hours lost from LTI, man hours without LTI, and some incident rates. So all of these have been populated automatically. That's the beauty of it. So we come to the incident dashboard, and incident dashboard also takes a deep dive into each of the incidents, right? So we have the total recordable injury, fatalities, lost time injuries. All of these are sort of monthly reports we are looking at. And then we have the total, basically the total of the incident. So all the incidents that have happened within the year, you can actually see them right in here. Okay, so that's pretty much what this report does. So we have a few parameters, and I take note that this dashboard can always be revised. Whichever entry that you think you want to replace, you can always replace that, or you can even do that yourself. All you need to just try to figure out where is this report coming from, and then you can pick whichever value you want to bring in here. You can do that. All right, so we've pre-designed this incident dashboard, and again we have the incident rate, which is equally the fact that we are building cumulative database of man hours, cumulative data of incidents like total recordable incidents or lost time incident injuries. All of this stuff is based on cumulative figures, right? So once you have the cumulative figure, cumulative man hours, we're able to estimate the score, and then we are using rolling average to do the trend, right? So every single month you're going to get a cumulative figure up to that month. The following month you're going to get a cumulative figure up to that month. So based on the month-on-month averages, cumulative averages, you're going to get a trend chart like this. And we also have the target and the actual. So the actual is the one on top. Some of them, the actuals are actually below, some of them are above. Basically you're looking at actuals and targets, right? Now mind that in the target database, you are setting your target of some of these incident rates. Now this incident rate target could be driven by your client, it could be driven by your industry benchmarks, it could even be driven by a regulatory requirement that when it comes to lost time injury frequency rate, the benchmark should be maybe 5.5. And that is what the enforcement authority would probably want to use to assess all the players within the industry so that they can compare which organization is doing quite well. So incident rate is very, very important. It's part of measuring performance. All right. So we're going to move on to the next, which is the control of work dashboard. All right. So this is the final piece of the dashboard we created. We are only trying to bring some insight into the report, but we cannot, do everything in terms of what reporting can be. But based on special requests, we could equally do a lot more. Now, the most important thing you need to bear in mind is that as far as you have a database, which is continuous, and it's well organized and it's well structured, you can create as many reports and dashboards as possible. So this type of report, we are the ones being very proactive to give you something that is insightful, but you can equally drive your own requirement that I want to see a dashboard that compares this and this. I want to see a dashboard that compares this and that. So basically you are not limited with a template like this. If I want to create a dashboard right now, I can jump into it and create it right away. I want to create a dashboard for these 3 KPIs. All I need is just All I need to do is just create those reports. But mind you, these reports have been created already. So maybe by the end of this tutorial, I'm just going to show you something small, how you can start to create dashboard with this template, right? Because we already have each of these reports generated. Now let's get into each of these reports. So I'm just going to go straight and let's take a look at some of these reports, right? Now we have the Mondays. We are tracking the Mondays. We are tracking the lagging indicators. We are tracking the leading indicators. Now these are the individual reports. So each of the key performance indicators have their own reports. And have a look at this side, right? I'm going to make it very big. You notice that we have the HR and property maintenance. That is the departments, right? So right within this chart, you're able to compare each of the departments. And let's even take a deep dive. We can actually take a deep dive and we can see, we can now see the monthly report for one particular department, and then we can equally look at the monthly report for the other department as well. So we could filter by one department to just focus on one, or we could actually focus on the other department, or we could focus on all of them. Okay, or we can collapse it. We can collapse it like this, and then we just narrow it down, right? So it means that there's room to narrow down, there's room to expand, and all of that. Now we are comparing the actual against the target. So the actual is here, the target is here, and that is what shows within the, the chart. You can see that there is the darker one in there. There's a faint one. There's the target, and then the darker one is right in there. So this darker one is gonna be coming up towards the end of the year as you are progressing. And you're going to notice that you are actually approaching the target. So each of these individual reports are based on actual and target. And so we can actually narrow down, as I did show you, we can narrow down. Now, basically, the means of having a report like this is simply based on the fact that within the pivot table field, we decide to bring the company in here, right? The company could be up here, and it's going to be like this, or the company could be down here above the dates, right? And it's going to look like this. So if you want to compare multiple companies, you must make sure the company is within the row section, right? And if you want to drill down by month, you can have the date within that row section as well. Okay, so this is pretty much what we did for each of the key performance indicators. So you have the ability to compare actual against target, compare multiple departments based on the amount of data within your template, and all the parameters like the various departments within the template or various sites within the template. So that is pretty much what we've been able to do. So this is something that is much more insightful as opposed to the original template, because the original template, there's no room to actually build a database that is continuous, that allows you to compare all the months and all the sites or all the departments all within the charts. This one you can do that. Why is it possible to do that? Just because when you open the pivot table field list, you notice that all the key performance indicators are in here. So they are all taking its source, or they are all taking their source from one particular table, which is the source data within the workbook. So that makes it easy to extrapolate as many types of reports as you want. You get it? So that is what, the excitement of making sure that you have a very good structure when you are building your database, or you are developing a template like this. You need to make sure that you have the table right, the structure right. So this is basically all about numbers, right? This is the quantitative data analysis. We are analyzing quantitative data, but let's bear in mind that health and safety is not always about quantitative data, right? But we know that numbers are actually very relevant, because we can objectively measure performance with numbers, where we are assigning numerical values to every activity that we are doing. So we can count how many trainings, how many inspections, how many toolbox talks, how many safety walkthroughs, how many management visits, and all of these good stuff. All right, so that is the essence of performance measurement on the quantitative side of things. All right, so not only do we have template for quantitative database or data analysis, we equally have template for qualitative data analysis, right? So in my next video, which I'll be showing you tomorrow, we're gonna be looking at some of the quantitative data that we have, right? All right, so I'm gonna delete this because we don't have any reports on any KPI on motor vehicle. I think that I forgot to remove that. I'm gonna do that right away. The motor vehicle is out. I'll just delete that because I think I forgot during the customization job that I was doing. All right. And I'll get rid of these ones as well. We don't need them because there's no data on motor vehicle incidents. All right. So that is pretty much, guys. So today is very, very short. We didn't keep long. It was just about 30 minutes. All right. Today we didn't keep long. It's just about 30 minutes. So 30 minutes we use it to just review the final work that we did. All right. So if you are interested in a template like this, all you need to just get in touch with me, book a meeting with me. I can always help with transforming your template into something very, very unique. And take note that when we are doing this, we stick within time, right? When we say we are doing it within 2 days, we do it within 2 days. If we are saying 3 days, we are doing it within 3 days. All right. So basically we stick to our words when we say we are customizing for you, and we can always jump on a call to have a conversation, to understand your need, to really understand your template, your workflow. Sometimes you already have a template, sometimes if you don't have the template, we can really help out, because we understand safety as well. We are safety professionals, and there's nothing more refreshing and assuring than getting support from a fellow safety professional, right? As opposed to someone who doesn't understand safety at all. So we already understand the safety language. We know all the lagging and the leading indicators. We know how relevant they are. We understand how better they can be reported, the structure of a template that can be used to report, the scope of analysis that can be done, and how they can all play a role in ensuring adequate communication with your stakeholders. All right. So there's nothing more assuring or more exciting than being able to communicate exactly what you do every single day. Right. So sometimes the nature of our job is such that the things that you are doing, you're not able to communicate them properly because the template you're using is not well structured that helps you to adequately communicate all of this stuff. But with a template that helps you to adequately communicate, it changes the game for you, because you can actually show your level of competence, your level of expertise, just by showing some graphs, showing some dashboard. And your management are so impressed that this person knows what he's about. He's giving us a lot of more focus areas. He's telling us all of these areas, the trends that we need to use to improve and all of that. So guys, we are only here to support. We are basically fellow practitioners who understand health and safety, and we can always help you. All right. So thank you all for your attention. This very episode is a very short one. It was just to show the final, the final work. And I'm going to see you guys again in another video. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.